Hey, everybody.
Hi, Paula.
Hey, okay, I'm surprised you came in here.
A lot to learn.
Good stuff. So, and Harley's coming in to us as well. Grand.
Yep.
Well, there's only a few of us, so we can have a little bit of a proper chat when there's quite a lot of people in the room. It's hard to have a good chat. So, does everybody want to just introduce themselves quickly? Hamid, will we start with you?
Yes, certainly. I'm actually sitting here in Streatham, but most of my business is in Brixton. Been doing development work for a long time, involved in various startup projects, as it were, and knew of the development of crypto even almost prior, the arguments of how we can create chains and add lots of data to them. And then when crypto happened, I was too arrogant to follow it because I was involved in too many other things. So in a way, I'm older than all you guys in the ideas of crypto, and yet I am the most innocent and uncorrupted by the machinations of it. So I'm completely virginal to all the new waves of doing things.
Welcome on board. So, Carlos, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so to be honest with you, I'm pretty new to it. So literally 3 or 4 weeks. When I joined this group was pretty much the first time. And that's it. I just started paying attention to it and playing around and spending. So now it's just trying to see where it goes. The altcoins seem also be interesting, but to be honest with you, this is too much noise in my head with the altcoins. So not in a rush. Next time around, I'll probably be when I say next time around, when the next years, 24, 23, 24, whatever it is, if it happens, I'll probably be in better shape. Now, for the time being, I'm just playing around and trying to pick up as much as possible, and that's it. My background is accountancy and finance, so I'm not particularly involved in blockchain, but I've heard about it. So it's just coming from that. A meetup group is a good idea, first of all, because we're locked at home. And secondly, more people makes sense from my point of view. I'm always open to that. And that's it.
Great. Viviana.
Yes.
Are you
Viviana.
this week?
Good. Still learning. But yes, I'm Viviana. I'm based in Dublin, and I was involved into a blockchain project for a startup 2 years ago. But I was not involving any coins. Was sort of free project, and then I was thinking about crypto as an asset recently, and I'm still learning what will be the best move. But yeah, I agree with Carlos. It's a great idea to have a virtual chat so I can gather my thoughts. And
Good.
Thanks.
Good. Jess, or is it Jessie?
Either or, you can call me Jess. So I'm based in Canada, Ontario. My background is in the hospitality industry. It's a unique sector of it. It's hospitality marketing. Then I kind of opened up my own lead acquisition business for startups, non-for-profits. I take the idea of a non-for-profit, get them hooked up online, and then I let them run with it. And through doing that, I heard of some companies trying to integrate blockchain technology into the governance of their business. So their work is lateral strategy. It's not centralized, more room for volunteers and donations to come in. And while I was going through politics, I got fed up with ego and centralized authority figures. And I was like, oh my God, blockchain technology plus politics equals what I believe is coming soon. Now that the financial institution is getting on board with this, you have Filecoin sharing storage, you have KYC for identity. I'm just patiently waiting for the medical field to pick up onto this. And then once they do that, the holistic natural paths, they'll all be like, hey, what blockchain technology is what we've been saying for so long. So I'm trying to learn I think the word is solidary. It's the ETH trading. So I'm trying to kind of combine my background with that and then introduce that to politics, let it go, and then just come to meetup groups like this. Like I said earlier, most of my friends now, it's like, what the heck is crypto? It's so scary. I'm like, it's actually not that scary. Just, you don't know what you don't know. So learn something and it's not scary. And if you just come to things like this. So I could talk forever. I'm super excited to be here. And I'll pass it on to whoever is next.
Good stuff. Welcome, welcome. Oakley?
Hi, I'm Oakley. I actually went to school with Hammond
Okay.
many years ago. And I've come from a training background, really. So software training, IT training. And so people kind of view me as a bit of a geek and the person who's supposed to know all the answers to everything technological. And lots of people were asking me about blockchain, even going back as far as 2006. And I didn't know enough to answer them properly. And recently I started thinking I should really get to know more about this. And my main interest is in blockchain, not for finance, but for record storage, for businesses and other use for businesses. And coming from a training background, again, I want to know how I can best brief businesses on what they should be using blockchain for, or what they could be using blockchain for. So that's really where I'm coming from. And on the back of that, I sort of got interested in, investing in things that give a better interest rate than the banks, which is pretty much everything, except Bitcoin at the moment. Luckily, I got in sort of early this year, so January this year, and so got in just before the big boom, and yeah, still in profit.
I'm still in profit. Well, I think 99% of the market, thankfully, still is in profit. Yeah, hasn't been a great week. Harley.
Hello.
How are you? Welcome to the community.
Thank you, guys. This is so cool. Okay, in comparison to all of you guys, I'm so inexperienced. Like, you guys all have some sort of technology background, but this has all happened in the past like week for me. So I've kind of background is I've been a carer for about 10 years. All sorts of environments like hospitals, care homes, and recently, just about in January, left my job in looking after people with like special needs and challenging behavior. And it kind of just I was doing it for like nearly 2 years, and it sort of got a wee bit too much and sort of took a real toll on my mental health. And then I sort of had to take the decision to step away. And then just sort of in my time, sort of this was like 2 weeks ago, my boyfriend and I were talking about, he was just discussing something that came up on Twitter about people and this idea of NFTs, and just like, and we were discussing like the psychology of it, and like the sort of cultural impact of and how it would sort of change the artistic world and all this sort of thing. And we were we were sort of on the fence about it, and then sort of looked into it a bit more, and then stumbled across Vivi, this app that was just something that I kind of have always loved, which was collectibles and nice, like it was really sort of appealing. And then from there, like on the community on Vivi, I set up an account and all, met this person who is very experienced in crypto, and over the past sort of week has been mentoring me. Like, he's in America, and we've just been like emailing back and forth, and he's been giving me all these like amazing tips, and I'm dyslexic as well, so I kind of thought that this was something that I wouldn't be able to understand or like get into, but he was able to really break it down and made it really simple. And then I bought my first OMI, and yeah, that's sort of in it. So, and then I just came on here, and he actually advised me to come on here and look for a community, and yeah, learn a wee bit more. So.
Stuff. Well, Harley, welcome. It was yourself in the chat earlier on that was saying you were a bit shy, was it?
Yeah. I'm a wee bit nervous. I'm just a wee bit like, so.
Yeah, well, you can relax. Everybody in here is got plenty of new people and some more experienced, but you can relax and take a breath. Yeah.
Thanks.
Catherine,
Thank
can
you
you
so
come
much.
on and say hi and introduce yourself? Okay. Okay, can everybody access the chat function at the moment? I'm going to drop a link into the chat function. Oakley, I had mentioned this to you before and then I never sent it on. So I've just gone and looked it up. So this is just something for you to have a look at later on. It's a video that I found from Microsoft, okay? And it's a really, really great example of business use cases. Hammond, I think you'll find this very, very enjoyable video as well. Now, your man that does the video, he goes through a bit of coding. I'm not a coder. I'm not a dev. I don't understand them sort of bits. But he basically shows how you can, using Microsoft Azure blockchain services, that you can connect to the blockchain and connect to an Internet of Things device and completely manage a supply chain from ground to shelf without a person having to really interfere too much. It's an absolutely amazing use case of blockchain. And I just found it really, really inspirational. And I know, Oakley, you're very interested in the business aspects and stuff like that. So that was something that I wanted to root out and share with you. But I think the rest of you will really enjoy it and you'll find it useful to watch. It'll be a bit of an eye-opener on the fact that it's not just all about coins and it's not just all about making quick profits, because blockchain is a technology that definitely has the ability to disrupt everything from media to the likes of supply chain. So what we're going to do in this room is basically just have a chat and ask questions and give each other advice and find out what everybody is interested in learning in moving forward. So does anybody have anything that they'd like to start with? Any questions that they'd like to ask? Don't be shy. Okay.
I have one question. Is the platform, the Hive, still available for minting the cards that the guy was? Okay.
Yes, it is. Okay. And so this is for the minting contest. Are you going to do the contest with us? Yeah.
I will try to use the card as my starting point for minting.
Good. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to go onto their website. So it is ntfshowrooms.com, I think. If it's not .com, it's probably .io. So you go on there and you have to actually register as an artist, okay? And then you just need, I think it's 5 Hive that you just need to pay. Hive is about 50 cents at the moment. Yeah, and if you need help with that, because I know the Hive blockchain fairly well, reach out to me during the week, and if you have problems registering or anything like that, and I'll help you get set up. Yeah.
Hey, thanks, Emil.
Okay. Jess, you were going to ask something there.
Yeah, I'm going to let Oakley go first before I do.
Okay.
Thanks. I was just going to ask a question because there's something I'm not 100% sure on about minting an NFT. If you mint an NFT, say on ETH, obviously you have to have an ETH coin for the NFT to be based on. So presumably that means the minimum value of the NFT is the 1 ETH. So
no, you don't have to have an ETH coin. You have to spend some ETH to mint the
okay.
Yeah. So it depends on where you're minting it from. So the likes of Hive that we were talking about, like they only charge 5 Hive, but there is no liquidity on that market. It does cost more on Rarible. Rarible is actually quite expensive. I'm not sure how much it is on Wax. Mintable isn't too bad. So it really depends, because they all want to take a little bit of a profit. But you'll also find then the ones that are layer 1 on ETH, you can, once they're up there as a ERC 2721, what's the token type? Did you correct me? When you mint it, it comes up as this ERC 70 token or something like that on the ETH blockchain. And then you can sell it in any of the platforms that will sell ETH, that will take ETH. So that's why it kind of is a little bit more advantage to do it that way.
But it's not based on one NFT is one coin or one token.
No, no. And then you can set your selling price then as well.
That's
What
it,
are you gonna? You're gonna do an MP4, are you?
I'm thinking about doing an MP4, yeah.
And have you looked to see anywhere that will allow you to attach the MP4?
Haven't looked at all yet, no.
Okay, because I'm thinking of an MP4 as well. So I am. I robbed some drone footage off my husband, and I have some drone footage. But then it's quite a long file, and I was wondering to myself, Jeannie, I'm assuming the larger the file, the more expensive it's going to be.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
Unless you're not uploading the file, you're just uploading a private link to somewhere. Then it might work out more cost efficient. Jeff?
Yeah, so I'm looking to participate in this NFT event. So what I've learned today is platforms where we can host it is on Wax, OpenSea, Rarible, Mintable.
Mintable, yeah.
And did you say NFT shelves?
Showrooms.
Showrooms.
Oh, NFT showrooms.
So what I'll do is after the meeting, it usually takes me a day or two after, because family priorities on a Saturday and Sunday.
Right.
I send out an update through the meetups group, and any links that we've discussed, I'll try and drop them all in. So everybody has quick access to everything. So just keep an eye on your emails from the meetups group from that. There's also, we record these sessions and we throw them up onto YouTube as well. So if you feel like you've missed anything or you want to hear the other session.
I'll get my 10 seconds to fame on YouTube. All right.
Yeah, there you go now.
And Paula, if you don't mind, I'm taking thorough notes. I don't mind emailing you them as well. Maybe that'll shave a few.
You know what? That would shave loads of time for me. Please do. Yes, please do. You can contact me through the meetups group.
Perfect. David got me hooked up, I believe.
Right.
And then the next question was, and I forgot to do this in my intro. The first time I downloaded Binance was on April 19th, 2019. Okay. When was everyone else's first time getting on an exchange, and what was your exchange of choice? I guess we can start with you, Paula.
Yeah, my first exchange would have been in 2016.
Oh, you lucky girl.
Yeah, and I had to find an exchange because I had earned myself some crypto and I wanted to turn it into a different crypto. And I didn't know how to do any of that. So I had to find an exchange and sign up for an exchange. And yeah, now I'm on loads of exchanges, but it was a little bit intimidating.
Yeah, I just, first I got on Coinbase, then transferred from Coinbase to Binance. And I caught wind of Omni, what Harley was saying. And I could only find that on the exchange called Gate.io, which is a Chinese-based exchange. It's a decentralized exchange. It's been open since 2013.
But so there are what we call low cap exchanges, and then we have kind of more mainstream exchanges. So Gate.io is a low cap exchange, and you could compare it to penny stocks in the stock markets where they're very, very, very new. The coins, it's easy to get listing on these. You don't need huge liquidity to get listing. And you can then start building your kind of trading profile and liquidity then from the likes of Gate.io, and then people tend to move up through the rankings into bigger exchanges from there.
Like
so that's what we would
Binance kind of thing would be high cap.
Yeah. But the likes of Gate.io, if you get a good coin or token there, you can get 1,000 X's, because by the time they make it up to
Exactly.
bigger exchanges. But with all penny stock type trading, you're just as likely to lose as much. As many projects go on there and then just disappear. So do your research.
Thanks for that. Trust Swap is, I just look at what they're listing and then find it on Gate.io. I don't know if you've heard of Trust Swap.
Yeah, and I would probably be more in favor of using Trust Swap.
Yeah, directly.
Yeah.
I had conversations. That's why eventually I'll get them.
What exchanges, Hammond? Are you on an exchange at all?
Yeah, I've been playing with. I'm on Coinbase. I tried eToro, which was terrible, and then Uniswap. Just finding out what's going on, trying them on and off, as it were, buying little bits here and there.
Are you using Coinbase as your fiat ramp?
No, now I'm going to transfer everything to Coinbase Pro to see if that will work a little better for us. But it's only very simple trading at the moment.
Carlos, what about you?
Yeah, I started with Binance 3 weeks ago, and I've been using it quite extensively. I felt tempted to use Coinbase Pro because it's also one of the ones that seems to be quite publicized. I haven't started yet, but I will start. Binance, the fees seem pretty small by opposition to eToro. eToro was the first one where I played, and eToro seems a bit expensive, and they have quite a lot of limitations. I'm just speaking for eToro, for crypto. If you're playing around with shares or any other stuff, completely different. But Binance seems to be okay. I will try Coinbase Pro because I want to have like 2 or 3 exchanges in case we have problems and we need to sell whatever you bought. So as a security, but somehow I'm following more Bitcoin and I'm not expecting things to crash immediately, although God knows, I'm the one who least knows. So let's see if I don't have to move faster and try to open a couple of accounts somewhere in a rush.
And unfortunately, some of the exchanges do suffer from problems when there's large volumes of traffic, and they can go down and you can have problems. So it's not a bad idea to consider, if you're a trader as such and not more of a holder, to be having them stop losses in there and your sell orders and buy orders set up for if things do go in a certain way, that you have yourself covered if you can't get online.
Yeah, I got that. Unfortunately, I only started to pay attention to stop losses now. Not that I got burned, because I haven't got burned, but I am paying very much attention to it now, and I will open a couple more exchanges so I know.
Are you leverage trading?
Say that again? No, I'm not touching that.
Okay.
No. Although I'm paying attention to that. That was one of the first advices that somebody gave on this group. I forgot the person who said it, but I was very careful with that. And I tend to play, carefully. Although yes, you get a bit involved and wrapped up, and you can start moving a little bit faster than you expected. But no such thing as leverage play.
Good. Viviana.
Yes, sorry.
Are you open on any exchanges?
Yeah, I haven't. Well, I have an account on Binance, but I got scared of like investing, and was like, I closed everything, and I'm trying to learn before doing anything crazy.
So what scared you?
The fact that I have to invest the money. In fact, it was like, it's so confusing on how many like kind of coins there were. So like, yeah, that was the impact of doing something without like kind of having enough like trust in the in how it works. It feels like yeah, it was a stopper for me. So
it's a risk, and everybody has their own personal risk tolerances. There are other ways, Viviana, of getting involved with a little bit less risk. When I got involved back in 2016, I've never had the need to purchase any cryptocurrency. So I haven't. Now I use cryptocurrency daily. I've earned a considerable amount of cryptocurrency. I continue to earn cryptocurrency. But I've never had to use an on-ramp. I've had to use off-ramps, but I've never had to. So all I've ever invested has been my time.
Okay.
So there are ways that you can get involved in crypto without making financial investments. And I do have it as a topic, but I haven't had time to prepare it yet. I am going to be giving a talk in the community in the next couple of weeks about basically about how I earned my crypto and what you can do to get involved. So stick in there for a few more weeks. There might be a few things. And then as well with the non-fungible tokens that we're going to be making, that could also be another way in that you could end up earning yourself some and stuff like that. So there are other on-ramps that aren't always fiat involved. Yeah.
Okay, good to know. Thanks, Emil.
And if you do want to practice trading, you can always use a practice account. Most of the exchanges have practice accounts where you're not really using your money.
Yes, but then I got the advice to not trade because you have like kind of to be like 24 hours almost like kind of on the trading market. So it will be better to hold instead of trade. But thank you for the suggestion. If I'm like get more courage in, I will start doing it.
I'm more of a holder than a trader. I do the odd bit of trading when I have a little bit of time, and but you get lost. You end up looking down these 1 minute candles now. It's crazy.
Oh my God, that's so.
Like zoom out, zoom out. Harley, have you made it onto an exchange at all?
I have. I was on this BB app, and through the chat I'm calling him my crypto guru because he's like everything I know is down to this person. And he seems to be quite experienced. He said he started like 7 years ago, and has sort of kind of knows the landscape, and I think he does trading, like normal stock trading or something. So basically he advised me, because he's in the States, I'm in Belfast in Northern Ireland, which is Britain, which is, so we're under the umbrella of like England. So he said to me to get Binance, which I got, which is, what did you call it, a fiat?
Yeah, so if you can use, not all exchanges will allow you put on British pounds or euros or dollars. Anyone that you can, we would term as a fiat on ramp.
Fiat on. Okay, yeah. So he was like, right, because it was to get. I was only really interested in the OMI because of this app, and the whole thing has come from this app. So, and to get OMI, he said like. I'm sorry, I can't see your name, but like the other guy said about because it's such a new coin, it's only on like little very kind of small platforms. So he suggested Bitforex, which I wasn't able to access because I think it's like a regional thing. And then he said try Bitmax instead. So I used Bitmax, and then he told me this insane like set of things that I had to do. I had to buy like a really small coin in Binance, and then transfer it to Bitmax, and then purchase and then change it to USTD, and then buy my OMI that way. So this honestly, it was insane, and it was so simple. Like he broke it down, and it sounds crazy, but yeah, so those are the two that I'm sort of dealing with at the minute. But I've been kind of researching this Levy situation, and they're saying that at the end of this month, the coin will be added to Uniswap.
Okay.
So it's gonna be bouncing onto like a bigger exchange.
Yeah.
And from what I have gathered, that's more people, more coverage, like more access. So is that somewhere that you can use fiat directly to OMI in Uniswap? Or is that...
No, not with Uniswap. So Uniswap is a, how would you explain it? It's a decentralized exchange. It's an automated market maker. Okay. So that means us retail people are all just the buyers and sellers, and there's no central organization that are controlling it. Okay. But the thing with it is that I personally don't like is that you can't set limit orders. So you can't say, I want to buy that at $2. You have to place your order and take the price that it's at.
That's market price? Is that what that's
called? Yeah. Okay. Now with the way Uniswap works as well, they have this thing called slippage. So if the price moves up or down by a certain amount in the time that your order is placed, you could lose out on the order, and then you still get charged the gas fees on the ETH blockchain, which is so annoying. It's very expensive to buy through Uniswap because of the gas fees on the blockchain.
So you don't think that'll be like?
Oh no, everybody uses it. It's hugely popular. Okay, even though it's very expensive. And there is a high likelihood that you will see the price of the coin going up once it's up on Uniswap.
Once it's added.
High likelihood.
Okay, interesting.
Catherine, would you like to join us for conversation at all? Feel free to hop off mic. I don't want to put you under any pressure. Okay, has anybody else got any questions that they'd like to ask? Anything that they're curious about? Any terms or anything that they've heard knocking about and they just don't understand?
Well, I'm kind of just completely lost, to be honest. I'm totally new to all of this, so kind of just listening and trying to learn just by, listening to what people are saying, basically.
Have you dipped your toe at all, Catherine?
No, I haven't. I just came on the meetup to try and see what it's all about, and try and get a handle on it.
So have you any direct questions? Like, do you know what blockchain is?
Not really.
Okay, would anybody like to explain what blockchain is? Hammond, you might be the ideal person to answer this question.
Yeah, well, I can tell you the problems and why it's so interesting. It's basically that all information, as it were, can be. There's just too much data and information out there. So how do we manage it? How do we allow it to understand where it is in the world? So the blockchain was a brilliant device. And the way they formulated it was actually looking at banking and how to create a ledger. That is, how to keep you understanding where the money goes. But in essence, it's kind of irrelevant. It's just, where does the data go? So how do you keep data secure? How do you send it to someone else? And how do you keep it in a way that it will always be there for you when you need it? So blockchain was a very, very clever way of locking it down immutably, meaning that it cannot be changed no matter what you do. And so it's there forever. And so one of the things with blockchain, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, like a blockchain can do. And it's now, we're in a situation now with blockchain that you can add lots of things to it. So instead of it just being information, you can now add any kind of digital file, or you could add values. You can even add histories and anything else really that a human can think of. If it can be converted in any kind of digital information, then you have it there on the blockchain forever. And now what's happening, you can have lots and lots of different blockchains. So there are lots of different technologies all coming together. Things like, you might hear terms like IoT, which is, or the cloud, or things like that. And in essence, it's all where we store data. So the cloud is where offline, the whole world stores data now in big, huge databases spotted around the world. It's called the cloud. what it is really is huge amounts of computing storage. IoT is a simple way of saying the Internet of Things, or how every single thing, again, on the internet has an address, and we can give every single object ever created that address. So it's a way of, again, organizing data. So here we are, you know, in a way, as people, kind of looking at two very different but now connected things, which is one, currency, and secondly, the blockchain. So the blockchain is actually completely different from currency, but we are here looking at how blockchain is used for currency, which is the most, I suppose, immense way that we can start adding value to data as well. So it's a very clever mechanism to change the way we work in future. I'm not sure if that answered it clearly,
Yeah.
but it's very much my understanding.
Yeah. And like what? So, how can it benefit you? You know what I mean? Like what?
What is it used for?
What?
What is it? Can it be used for?
I'll take a pop at that. So it can be used in quite a lot of different ways, okay? And I'm just going to talk about Web3. We are currently in a situation where we're running off Web 2. Now, if you speak to the very original developer of the internet, he'll say we're already in Web 3, and that Web 3 is all about artificial intelligence and data processing, okay? But all this artificial intelligence and all this data processing that's going on is going on with controlled, centralized organizations. We've got Google, we've got Facebook, we've got Microsoft. We've got all these centralized organizations, and we're all posting things online, we're all interacting online, and everything that we do online that's free, it's not really free. We're paying for this with our data, okay? They're collecting our data and they're selling our data, they're getting hacked with our data, they're producing ads based on our data, and there's a whole ethical thing going on about what should they be allowed to do with our data. It's our data. Blockchain gives us the ability to take ownership and control back from centralized organizations into a more decentralized space, so they don't have this control and this power. And that's just one of the type of applications and uses that it can have. Does that help?
It does to me.
Sorry,
Catherine, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, did that help, Catherine?
Yeah, somewhat.
Hopefully, would you like to give another example, maybe a more businessy case example?
Well, I think rather than a businessy one, going back to the financial one, I think the problem with money, you talk about fiat currencies, is they're all tied to government control, and therefore $1, for example, doesn't actually have any intrinsic value, because the government control the total number of dollars in circulation, and at any time they can just print some more if they want, and they've just done that. They've just printed an extra $1.9 trillion. So what that means is that if you had $1 in your pocket, it's now worth less money. Equally, if you want to go to a different country, if you take that $1 and you go somewhere overseas and you want to change it into a local currency, you have to pay an exchange rate, which is based upon, you know, all sorts of different things. And you also get charged a commission on changing that money. So one of the ideas behind digital currencies, and obviously crypto just means they're secure digital currencies, is that you have a global currency. It can be spent anywhere in the world, and its value is not necessarily linked to another, you know, a fiat currency like $1, but it is its own driven thing. With Bitcoin, there's a finite number of Bitcoin that can ever be in existence. So people can't just go on creating them forever and then make the supply worth less and less. In fact, the opposite takes place, because once we get close to having the full number created, they become more valuable. So they actually become more desirable and more valuable. So it's a crazy kind of concept. It's kind of the opposite of traditional currencies. The only thing stopping it working properly at the moment is the fees that are being charged for transferring from one to another, particularly with things like ETH, where the mining fees. And that's because somebody has to be paid to record the transfer on the blockchain. So that's another big advantage, I think, of the blockchain and to do with currencies, is there's no centralized control. There's no single player deciding what things are worth.
I think no matter what blockchain you're talking about and what use case you're talking about, I think one of the biggest things is central control. Central control is a weak point in any of our modern day systems, is that when you've got one person in control or one centralized organization in control, and if they mess up, if they get hacked, or if they leak information, or if they make a bad decision, or, you know, everybody else has to pay for it. And that's the central weak point. And blockchain aims to totally fix that.
I mean, to be fair, governments and banks rarely make bad decisions, do they?
Yeah, no, let's face it, like.
Just to let you know something quite impressive that's happening now is that up until this point in time, you could say that most coin currency hasn't really been transactable in a way that actually connects to us as people. So it's been, in effect, an added value that developers and very rich people and people who play lots of games have been adding to this. So we're, in effect, entering someone else's value system. So Bitcoin at $56,000 right now is nothing to do with us. It's to do with a lot of other players, very rich people deciding how they're going to start using it and giving it its intrinsic value. There's very complicated ideas of how humans value anything. You know, why is gold valuable? Why are feathers not valuable? You know, there's lots of different arguments here. But what's happening now is there's a project happening in Brixton where I work and Oakley comes from. We both come from Brixton, where there's going to actually be a transactable Brixton coin. Now, this is very important because all of a sudden, instead of you paying in cash and maybe having a game of playing in Bitcoin, it will be a currency used across Brixton, across all the shops, where shops will be encouraged not only to take it, but to give it out. And things are being decided about how it will be transactable, how the values will be sustained. They're all very, you know, deep questions. But as far as I know, it'll be one of the first currencies that will go live in a major way in a town center. So this, again, I know it doesn't sound much now.
So I know about another one.
Go on then.
So I have, it is called Monacoin. It is a Japanese currency.
Yeah.
It's been around quite a while. They were using it on the Monaco Island in the last bull run. It was actually released in the last bull run. And I remember the price of it going ridiculously high, and I didn't have any of it.
Oh, yeah. And I think this is the problem, that it doesn't become transactable anymore. So if you've got a coin that was worth 0.1 of a cent one day and $1 million the next, how do you buy your coffee like that? Well,
that's it. It was too volatile. It's at $2 at the moment, actually. So it is. I'm just after pulling it up there just to have a look to see if it was still around. But yeah, that's really interesting. When is that happening? Who's implementing
this is all secret stuff, so you're not allowed to know this. So I haven't told anybody anything.
Okay, so we're all under NDA.
Yes, basically. But again, if you think about the bigger issues or the brilliance of it, it's using all that technology we have and data to give it to the common person. So I'm literally saying school children being able to buy maybe their lunch money with a currency, a cryptocurrency in a small area that hopefully will grow. And why this changes everything is because, as you know, and Oakley's alluded to before, is that there are fees attached to everything that we do when the big man's involved. So taxes and VAT and transactional fees, and they go on and on and on. So the actual value adds of having something like this initially seemed we're just playing with a bit currency, but then you can also then transact with people from wallet to wallet directly and avoid all the middlemen and costs. So there's an argument that if you want to be an Uber driver, you no longer have to join Uber. You just put your services on a cryptocurrency wallet and say, I can drive you when you want, and then be paid directly in the cryptocurrency using the facilities that the currency affords you, because it's all digital now. So what's possible is ridiculous. And that's where we are now. It's like being at the start of the internet. So there are people who feel like me. I missed it all entirely, even though I knew a lot about it. I missed it all entirely now. Up until now, may think, oh no, I better join in because I want to make $1 million by putting in 500.
You're still an early adopter. You are still an early adopter.
That's right. But when it comes to the actual technology, we are very, very, very early on. And the way that this can play out is still unknown. So things like this project.
So have you picked a blockchain?
Sorry?
Have you selected? Huh?
Algorand.
Okay. What are the fees like? You didn't happen to watch the presentation that we had, it was only last week. We had a guy on with us last week, Andrew Levine, and they're creating a blockchain that will have no fees.
Koinos.
Yeah, it might be worth, at the time when I was watching when we were at the meetup, I found it really, really heavy. I'm not a coder, I'm not a dev, and I found it extremely technical. But it was only afterwards when I wound down and I thought about what he was saying, I actually got a huge amount more from it than I originally thought that I had got from it. It might be worth watching because he talks about a lot of stuff that are just beyond me that I just know you will get.
And also, we were talking about, say, Bitcoin being very heavy with the mining. So just to explain maybe to people who don't know, mining works in that it's a way of understanding where everything works, where everything is within the chain. And it's very, very heavy. It's very heavy to compute. So it's not actually very perfectly accurate. What you're doing is getting lots of people to compute at the same time to find the most approximate value or the closest approximate value of closing each chain. So I know it sounds very complicated because it is in a way. And that's the brilliance of it, that you're locking down something that's absolutely huge in one chain, and you can find out where it is and it'll never go away and it's always there forever. But now there are chains that are working very, very light. And I really don't know how they're doing it. So you can get chains now where there's a couple of coins that are working on 20 kilobytes worth of information. How? I have no idea. It literally is brilliant. And so again, these coins coming out will enable us to do things, as we're saying, no fees, and also attach information that's very light. So we all know that our information is secure. So for instance, there are things you can think of even now, like your property, the land registry. Why is it on some strange database in the middle of England where we even don't, after I think 600 years of the doomsday and all this, we still don't know who really owns the land in Britain. So 50% is not at the land registry. So why isn't that on a blockchain so that you can entirely see what's going on? It'd be so easy. There's no arguments. It's there. And so these things are how we're going to start changing things with these variety of different blockchains and currencies.
Catherine, can I ask you, are you Irish?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I am, yeah.
You'll get this one then, because I'm Irish too. Okay.
Yeah, I can tell, yeah.
You know how the Irish system works. So we have a social welfare department, we have a health department, we have an education department, we have all these different departments. And if you go on to the social welfare, you have to go down to the social welfare office and you have to fill out a load of forms, and they have to go off and they have to check their system. And their system doesn't go and it doesn't check the tax system. Okay, you have to bring tax records yourself down to them, right? And then you have to go because you have a sore arm and you've got a medical card, you need to go to the hospital. But when you get to the hospital, you can't use the same card that you used in the social welfare office or in the education system or anything else. You have to use something else. And you have to fill out a whole load of different forms. And they have to go and speak to this person and that person. And if your envelope that you put in was white instead of brown, it gets sent back to you. Okay? Okay.
Yeah.
Imagine all of this information about you was kept on a blockchain, and you had the key, you had a password, and this password that you had, you could decide to share this with the social welfare office, with your medical officer, with the Department of Tax, with the Department of Education, and it's just one little code that you need to share with everybody, and they can access the bits of information about you going around the world. That's what blockchain can solve.
That was really good. That was really good, I think.
But in order for that to work, does everybody not have to be on board with this thing? Like, I mean, do you know?
Yes. So we're at a stage with blockchain. We're not at a stage where the governments have accepted it. We're not at a stage of mass adoption. We're still at a stage of development and exploration. So if you think of the internet, Catherine, back in the 1980s, when none of us in Dublin had it, and you had to go to a cafe and you had to plug your wire into a wall, and the wire in the wall will go, and the page would load up. Okay, that's where we are now with blockchain.
Right.
So we're another 10 years away from people just switching on a computer and it all being Web3 and everything is interconnected like this. We're early, you're really, really early in the game, Catherine.
Okay. So the other thing is, like, you hear about, you know, these celebrities that are claiming that they've made all of their money through cryptocurrency and that it wasn't really through their businesses. There's a couple of them, I'm not going to name names, but some of them have gone on television and...
Okay, yeah, no, come here, these are scams. I've seen some of these themselves, like we've even had ones with Bill Gates doing them. Be really, really, really careful on the stuff that you're watching. Okay, I've seen Bill Gates videos on YouTube running for days. And he's saying, send me 1 Bitcoin and I'll send you back 2. These are, you have to be super, super careful. Okay.
There's 2 fakes or frauds going around. One is a deep fake where it's not actually Bill Gates doing it. It's an artificial intelligence fake video of him doing it. But also what you've got to be aware of is that a lot of sort of minor celebrities get paid to promote certain coins. And I mean, you judge what you like. I mean, they make a lot of money from it because they get paid, but it's just sponsorship. You know, doesn't mean it's a good coin
that
to
makes
buy.
sense, yeah. I'm not talking about minor celebrities. I'm talking about, I don't want to name their names, but 1 or 2 of them have been on Irish television. You may have seen it, Paula, I don't know, but
I've seen some of them ads come up in my feed.
no, it wasn't an ad. No, it was on, you know, the Late Late Show. You know?
Yeah. Did you actually watch it live on the Late Late Show, or was it a repeat of something shown on the internet?
Yeah, because the ads might be switched.
It's not. I can assure you, I've seen them, and I know some of the celebs. No, they have nothing got to do with crypto at all, and they didn't make all their money in crypto, and that's all that. Yeah, you have to be super, super, super careful. But I'm saying that many people have made a lot of money in crypto, and you will find now a lot of celebs are hopping on board because it's getting very trendy on TikTok and it's all over social media, and they want to be hip and trendy and be involved in the game. So there are a lot of younger, not more established to older, but younger influencers getting involved in the game now.
Lindsay Lohan.
What's it?
Lindsay Lohan.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Well, I don't know about her, but I'm talking about a major. This is being recorded on YouTube, so I'm kind of being a bit, you know, about what I'm saying. But
yeah, it wasn't really. So if you go and look up that YouTube video, okay, and then do a Google search to see was that person on the Late Late Show, I can guarantee you they weren't. It's a fake.
all right. I'll take your word for it, but
You know what you can do? You can send me a message, okay,
Yeah.
in the meetups group, and show it to me, and I'll confirm it, yeah, and I'll be able to give you backup to show you that it's fake, okay?
all right, yeah, okay.
Just be really careful. And what these people try and do is a thing called phishing. Okay, they fish for your information, Okay, they try and fish wallet details out of you, or they try and get you to, they try and scam coins out of you somehow. So just be super, super careful in the things that you are getting involved in.
Yeah, oh yeah, I would be, yeah. I presume you're saying like all these random kind of messages that you'll get popping up telling you, like, you know, with fake newspaper. It looks like it is an article in a newspaper. Is that, I presume that's what you mean, is it?
Yeah,
I've
some of them
seen
can be
them.
fake.
No,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, some of them can be fake. I
Yeah.
see Harley has her hand up. Harley, do you want to jump in there?
Oh, hi. Where'd he go? Yeah, it was just, this is kind of unrelated. Well, it's kind of related. Can you see me, or have I turned that
Yeah,
off?
yeah.
Oh, you can see me, okay. It was kind of just on the explanation of like trying to understand. Like, I've found it really difficult to understand, like just wrap my head around the whole thing. But this is so crazy. I was watching the Antiques Roadshow. Does everyone know what Antiques Roadshow is?
Yeah.
Was watching it like 2 days ago or something. And
You
there
want
was
to
this woman,
explain
right?
to Jess what it is? Jess has no idea.
Oh,
what the
sorry,
Antiques Roadshow
sorry,
is.
Jess.
I'm just across the
Sorry.
pond here.
Sorry, Jess. Okay, so
Don't
it's
worry.
basically a show where people will bring on like these family heirlooms that they have like hidden in their closet for like years on end of dust, and they'll bring it to this like what's the word? What's the person called who'll like evaluate and like tell you where it's from and tell you its provenance and tell you if it's like worth anything. And there's some people who bring stuff on and it'll be like a Cartier ring and they won't know it's a Cartier ring and it's like worth like 100 grand, and there's like portraits that are, so it's all this sort of stuff. So this woman basically brought on this like book of tokens. There were like this big book of like tokens that are from the Industrial Revolution, right? And I think it must have been in England. And the evaluator guide was basically explaining that these tokens were designed by so there was like a big famous rich guy that owned a factory, and then he would build houses around the factory for all of his workers, and they would all live in these houses. And then he would also build like shops and clothes shops and grocery shops, but they're all owned by this one guy, and he would basically mint little tokens that he would encourage and give to his staff to spend like at the stores that he had built and instead of them like using their money, I guess. I'm not sure if this kind of related, but yeah, it was just the idea of using like an alternative token within a community to pay. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I kind of watched it and I was like, whoa, this was happening like back in the day. Somebody had this idea to create their own like form of currency almost that was kept within this like little universe kind of, and that discouraged them. Or then he maybe he didn't pay them with like fiat money, maybe he paid them with these tokens, and there was like there was this book of hundreds of them, like so yeah, is that a good example?
It is.
Not like directly, but it was
No,
just
it is actually quite a good example, and it's something that Oakley touched on earlier on when he said that it you know, it's really strange how humans put value on things, and within communities very much so, people put value on things. My kids get cryptocurrency and Bitcoin because they've come from a generation where it's all in-game tokens, and you know, yeah, in-game purchases, and you get a token for this and a token for that. And this digital money, it's just second nature to them. It's already totally second nature to them.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And I had one question, if that's okay. I'm sorry, I can't remember everyone's names. But you guys were talking about the safety, and it was the security of the data. Obviously the blockchain is this data cave that has everything in it, and it's completely unhackable? And is this like, we're talking like Edward Snowden level of like people who can, do you know what I mean? I feel like we have a lot of smart digital people who can do like, do you know what I mean, above and beyond like things. And
It can be hacked.
It can, so blockchain can be hacked.
It can be hacked, but it's
okay.
mathematically highly improbable.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So anything can be hacked, of course it can.
Okay.
But what you have with a blockchain is you don't just have one copy of the blockchain. You have hundreds and hundreds of copies of the blockchain, which are constantly checking against each other to see if your blockchain matches mine.
Okay.
Now,
so I think for so I can like visualize, I think my OMI is on the Go chain.
Yeah.
I think OMI is on a Go chain, and then would Ethereum be on a different blockchain then?
Yeah.
Or is that it would be okay.
Yeah, that's it. That's its own separate blockchain, and Bitcoin is another blockchain.
Ah, okay. So each coin has its own blockchain.
Not necessarily, but mostly, yeah.
Okay.
There is a paper on MIT blockchain if you like to visit on hacking of a blockchain. You know, they tried to hack a small blockchain. It was, I think, not a public blockchain. It was a private blockchain. But yeah, there was an interesting research paper. It was being hacked practically as well.
There's lots of different ways they're going to be hacked. I mean, the paid network was hacked not too long ago.
So the blockchain wasn't hacked, and you have
the blockchain wasn't hacked. Their own main minting
contract.
Yeah.
So smart contracts can be hacked, okay, but blockchains are very difficult to hack, and they're very difficult to hack because of the decentralized nature.
Yeah.
Okay. So as Oakley was explaining, all these. So when you run a blockchain, okay, let's just talk about Bitcoin. Okay, for example, you've got computers that are running the Bitcoin software spread out all over the world. Now, there's a huge cluster in China, but we won't talk about that for the moment, okay? So anybody can decide to pick up a computer, or back in the day when Bitcoin started and it was easy to mine, anybody could pick up a computer, turn it on and press mine, okay? And by mining, what you're doing is you're running a version of the Bitcoin software on your computer. So your computer talks to a different computer in Spain or in France or in Germany, and they all collaborate and they all say, do you have the same records as me? Yes, I have the same records as you. To hack a blockchain, you need to get 51% of them computers to agree on what the records are on the system. So if you don't know if it's completely distributed around the world and you don't know who all these miners are that are running the software, trying to organize a hack would be pretty difficult. But you also need an awful lot of energy and power behind you to do it as well, which is the mathematical side of it.
Yeah, but that's not to say it's not possible, but it's just highly improbable.
Yeah, I will go with this comment of Oakley because, you know, I think all of what it governs, it's like an hashing algorithm, you know, where you need to predict those pair of numbers of key to unlock that particular transaction hash. So you need to predict that number, and you know, like in order to predict that number, right, it's very, 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 very highly improbable because you need to go with like, it will be like, you know, you can't imagine that number, that kind of permutations you need to, you know, like go for that thing in order to hack those things or predict those numbers. So it's like really unlikely.
Jeff, had you got your hand up to say something there?
Yeah, you asked Hamad, sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, Hamad, which blockchain he picked, and he said Algorand, and we just kind of briefly went over Bitcoin, and we spoke about, touched lightly upon Ethereum, smart contracts. Everything kind of has their own system. What's kind of in the long run, I guess, what's important? Like, why Algorand over Bitcoin? Like, is that temporary? Is it just energy consumption, mass adoption? Like, what kind of thought processes go into that when you're deciding which blockchain are you going to go with? Like, is it a narrative story? Like, hey, this is just what I like to do, so I'm going to stick around like the NFT blockchains to do that. If you like finance, do you go to this one to do this? Like, do you go to Algorand if you're going to do like something else?
I wasn't privy to all the decision making for the Brixton blockchain, but I do know just if you were to start something, a community currency, or you wanted to do something in banking or finance, you would have to approach right now maybe bigger players in the market to be able to get things done on such a, I would say, deep way. Because we know we can all create, or we can actually create our own coins now. It's not that hard. Ethereum was created so that you could build almost your own coin systems on top, and there's lots of new coins. So, you know, we know by all the new coins coming out that it's feasible to build your own. But what some of the bigger players allow is things that all businesses want. You need the market penetration, you need techies on board to help you with very sophisticated mechanisms. So you get into a place where it's not simply about having something that works on a peer-to-peer network with the data flowing and the computer talking to another computer and we having wallets. It becomes a whole ecosystem of starting a currency, which is much bigger than a blockchain or cryptocurrency. That's not it. It's like any business. You need marketing, you need your HR, you need all the people and systems coming together. So if you look at what's happening now, there are some cryptocurrencies that are actually big. You know, Cello is big, Algorand is big. They are supported by a lot of people, a lot of technology, and they've been going for years. And some of the little currencies coming online have particular USPs that could be immensely valuable. And that's what we don't know, because sometimes you'll read a white paper on a coin and think, oh, that's really clever. You know, maybe that will change the world. And then we might gamble and say, well, I'll put $100 on that and see what happens.
And then they could maybe run off.
Exactly. But in effect, without us being on the coalface, almost working with those companies, it's very difficult to know. So one that was shown to me the other day, which I am going to gamble with, is actually the Muslim coin. So it's the first one based in the Islamic world.
Is that R-Fuel? Or sorry, was that R-Fuel? What's that one?
No, sorry. Let me just remember the name. Sorry about this. I've just forgot. K's coin. Let me just put it here.
Like CASE?
Yeah, I'll
I think it's CAIS.
Who released that coin?
Well, I'm going to send you. You're going to have a read.
Yeah, do.
Okay. So this is the gamble. So this is an Islamic blockchain with absolute security. Now, the reason I would invest is not because I think the technology is any better or I know any of the developers, but simply there'll be a lot of people wanting to have the security of Islamic-backed banking. Now that's actually huge, because in the world, Islamic banking is trusted much more than which you could say Western world banking, because of the way they treat interest, you know, and the way they are very secure about how they view gambling. So in effect, you'll have a very, very secure company behind it. So all the people behind this are very, very boring and very honest. And maybe that's exactly what you want right now.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it may be that a billion other people will agree with you and me, and suddenly that will skyrocket. Now, I have no idea, but I'm willing to put a £100 punt on it, you know, just for the fun of it. However, in reality, I'd love to actually meet the people behind it, discuss who they have, how they see it progressing in various Islamic states, what kind of fiscal trading and availability they think. And these are all the real things I would love to know and can't get hold of that information. If I did, it wouldn't just be a punt anymore. It'd be a really considered investment into what potentially could be a massive and important business for the entire planet for the next 1,000 years. I don't know. But right now, all I know, someone showed it to me, is it's at a kind of good price. It's got all the difficulty of purchasing through all this various, you know, Ethereum, bonkers coins and all this kind of stuff on trading platform. I just can't, you know, which I'd love to do, pull out a credit card, buy some, and then go to sleep instead of to somehow go through 20 processes. Yeah, to buy $100 of it and probably use $30 in transaction fees.
Yeah.
You know? And that's what's getting us, I think, all now.
That's just what I went through with Gate.io, literally $50. for Omni only got me, I think, like $42 in after gas fees all said and done. I think it was actually lower than that. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So
Right,
I just left
everybody.
that.
We are wrapping up in this room now. We're going to go back to the main room. We've actually ran quite over. So I'm going to close this room now. I'm not 100% sure when I close this room if you have to press a button or not to come into the main room. But I'm thinking you all just get thrown back in. So bear with me for a second, okay?
Sorry, guys. Is there a Telegram group for this?
There is a Telegram group. So if you
Yeah.
drop either your telephone number or your Telegram name into the chat, we'll pick it up from the chat and we will send you a private invite, yeah?
No problem.
Great.
I'll do
I'll
that
see
now.
you in the main room now.